Some of you are just starting to read the Bible and study the Bible, and you may have questions about which is the best translation. That's a common question, and what other tools you can use. Well, which is the best translation is actually kind of a difficult question to answer because it depends on what you're going to study. For most people in English, it's the King James Version. Okay? The King James Version does have a few mistakes in the translation, but very few. The only problem with the King James Version is that it's written in an old style of English, and it's a little bit inaccessible for some people. It's kind of difficult because you have to be taking out a dictionary to look up the old words that we don't use anymore. So I myself, I prefer to use the New King James. It's very similar to the King James translation, but they take out all the thee and thy and thou, which mean you, which isn't so difficult, but they change the old verbs and nouns and words that we don't use anymore in English, and they replace them with a more modern word. So I'm not saying that that's the Bible that you have to use, but the King James and the Old and the New King James tend to be a little bit closer to the original. But if you want to get really close to the original translation, then you might think about getting an interlinear Bible. But if you're just starting to read the Bible, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend reading maybe the New King James or the King James or some of the other standard Bibles like the American Standard Bible, the New American Standard Bible. Then there are other ones that are easier to read. I wouldn't recommend the ones that are very, very easy to read and sound like your brother wrote them, like really easy English, because those tend to be the worst translations. They might be easy to read and it might seem like a very simple story to read, but they change too much of the details and the facts. So although sometimes it's okay, and I even read a little bit out of something like the NIV, the New International Version, that's an easy version to read. It's written in very normal, everyday English, but it has a lot of problems with the translation part of it. So it could help you to grasp the idea of certain aspects of the Bible, which might be more difficult to understand in other translations. But it's not good for specific Bible studies to do word studies or studies on prophecy or studies on, for specific words and subjects. So you need to have a few Bibles actually. But let me just show you, this is another one called the, I know it's kind of big, it's called the Interlinear Bible. It's by Green, just like the color green is the author, so you can look for that. It's kind of big, it's not something you would, they don't have a pocket size. Because in this Bible, I'm going to see if you can maybe be able to see it. In this Bible, it actually has the Hebrew and the English. So you read it backwards, but below the Hebrew words are the English words, and then it has a number there. And that number, so you can actually see what the Hebrew word is. And below that Hebrew word, written in Hebrew, you have the English word, and above it is a number. Now that number coincides with the numbers in a concordance. Now you should get a concordance. This is a common one called the Strong's Concordance. The concordance is like a dictionary of the whole Bible. It has all the words in the Bible in it. If you want to look up love, for example, it will show you all the places that you can find the word love in the Bible. It gives you the verse, Matthew, verse 13, and wherever you're going to find that. And then what's nice, in the back of this, it has two separate sections, one in Hebrew and one in Greek. See, when you find the word here, then you're going to see what it's going to have a number, which coincides with the number that we saw in the Interlinear Bible. Then you go to the back, if it's a word that comes from the Old Testament, it's in Hebrew, and then you're going to see that it will show you what the Hebrew equivalent is for that word. You can't really see it very well because my camera's not that good. But it actually has the Hebrew word, how to pronounce it, and its definition. Oh wait, am I showing you the Hebrew or the Greek? No, that's the Hebrew, yeah. And then right after that comes another little section with all of the words from the New Testament, and those are in Greek. I know they're kind of tough, but you could see them, and you could see these online too. They have the concordances online, and they have interlinear Bibles online. But the Strong's Concordance isn't very expensive. It's probably around $20 or so, and the interlinear Bible is very expensive. That's like $85. But so those are really good tools when you want to really start studying words and their meaning. You actually find the Hebrew word and what its possible meanings are. It's really useful. Just to give you an example, you know where it says Christ, the first fruits, and then those who come at his coming. Well, that word, when you look in the when you look up that actual word, first fruits, in the interlinear Bible, you'll see that it's actually the word first fruit, and it's singular. It's not plural. So it's a small detail, but sometimes little details like that where the translation, for some reason in all of the popular translations, they translate it as first fruits, plural, but it actually says Christ the first fruit. So it's a little bit clearer. So you see there is a value to it, and you'll see that sometimes you can understand things better. Now another thing about the interlinear Bible, besides, I forgot to show you, besides having it the actual Hebrew, on the side here it actually has it, readable text. So here's where you can just read it in normal English word order. Here it's in Hebrew word order, and you have to read it backwards with the English word underneath the Hebrew word. And that's a little bit tough, but you can do it. But here it's just written normally. So it's almost like having 2 or 3 Bibles all in one. It's really convenient. That's called the Green's Interlinear Bible. Okay, then for some of you who I know a few languages, and one of the languages, especially because I live in South America, that I know is Spanish. Here's an example of a bilingual Bible. And so in this Bible, you actually have, if you know Spanish and English and you want to take advantage of knowing the 2 languages, it helps to compare sometimes. But you'll have like the Spanish on one side and the exact English verse next to it on the other side. I don't think you can really see it too well, but let me get it a little closer. Maybe you can see some of the words there. But anyway, these 2 Bibles in one are, let me just get a little closer, La Biblia de las Americas, the Americas Bible, and the New American Standard Bible. And they're both pretty similar in style. The New American Standard Bible is kind of nice when you want an easy-to-read Bible, not for specific details, but just to get the flow and the idea of it. And then you have all different sized Bibles. I like this Bible because if there's ever a persecution and I have to go, this is actually a complete Bible, and the letters really, they're small for some people, but they're not that small for me. I really like this one, and this is the New King James Version, and I like this because I could put this in my pocket if I had to run to get away or something. So whatever you do, just definitely read the Bible a lot, but try to get a couple of translations. Now there are study Bibles too, and those are kind of neat. If you don't know where to start, they'll actually give you like chain references where it will bring you from one verse to the other. But just remember that people, Yahweh is the author of the Bible, and Yeshua, but these other Bible versions, people have put them together, and they're the ones that put the little titles above each chapter. They add little things to the Bible, and the notes at the bottom of the page, those are written by men that aren't inspired notes at the bottom of the page. So you have to be cautious of those things. And when you buy a study Bible, those people who've created that study Bible have a religion, whatever their religion may be, and even though they might try to be objective, they're going to have, they're going to be teaching you their religion through the Bible too. So be cautious of those. But some Bibles are nice. They have lots of maps in the back. The Spanish-English Bible I have here has lots of good maps in the back in Spanish and in English, and that's helpful when you look, because when you're reading about the different the things that happen in the Bible, it's nice to know where and which country it's happening, mostly in Israel, but sometimes in the surrounding countries too. So I hope that was helpful, and just read your Bible every day.